Okay, I'm calling the meeting to order tonight, Tuesday, May 19th, 2020, at 7 p.m. and we have a quorum. I'd also like to introduce Courtney Wimmers, who has joined us for tonight's meeting. I think we've managed to kind of all introduce ourselves, but if you haven't said hi to Courtney, please introduce yourself.
I can't remember if I introduced myself, but I'm Kay Bishop, and welcome. Nice to see you.
Hi, Courtney. I'm Carrie Kapowski. Welcome.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for inviting me. This is very exciting.
Hi, Courtney. It's Matt Calkins at Grace Church. Nice to welcome you.
Nice to hear you.
Great, and Courtney will be presenting a little bit later on during the director's reports for us. So I'm going to jump in with the minutes from the April 21st meeting. They were sent around. I'm hoping everyone had a chance to take a look at them. Is there a motion to approve the April 21st meeting minutes?
I can make a motion, Cecilia.
Okay. Cecilia. Second?
Second.
Okay, seconded. And all in favor to approve the minutes from April 21 as distributed?
Aye.
Okay. Mark approves, right?
He's the one.
All right. We do not have any public or employee visitors with us this evening. So the next item, for the president's report, I don't have much to report. Thankfully, I'm going to be passing that on to mostly Tom and Courtney to discuss what's been happening at the library. But I just wanted to point out that next week, Mid-Hudson is having another webinar that trustees can sign up for. This one's on trustees' roles and responsibilities during the restarting of library services, which, as all the previous webinars have been, I'm sure will be very informative and helpful. So if you should have seen that in your email, if you're able to join, feel free. Rebecca always does a fabulous job, and they're very helpful. So if you can join, that would be great. And at this point, I would just, I guess, turn it over to Tom, if he could bring us up to speed a little bit on what's been happening since he last reported last month.
Sure, gladly. I've been continuing on, much as I had described last time, that I've been coming in and what I can say in terms of, the progress made in the COVID plan, what I've been able to do is I've been able to procure reusable face masks from Dutchess County Chamber of Commerce and some more hand sanitizer from them as well. I have purchased some gloves. I've also I forgot face shields as well from Demco. So that our employees can be, properly suited up and well protected. I'm right now looking into purchasing plexiglass protectors for the circ desks. Granted, our first phase of reopening will be curbside, but of course, I think the sooner we can get these, the better. And so I'm working on ordering them right now, taking measurements and that. That's the progress I've made there. I've also reached out to Mike Flanagan, the owner of Riordan Briggs, and I've asked him if he'd be able to put aside the rationed number of some of these things for the Millbrook Library, and he said that he would. So I have yet to still get them from him, though. So that's covers the progress there. I'm very happy to report to the board that the library received a check for $50,000 from the anonymous donor who has given in the past. And this is specifically in the letter for general purposes and the important role that we play in the community. So that will be a great help.
That's wonderful.
Wow.
And
That's fabulous
it is, yes. Yeah, very nice.
and very general, so we can use it. You know, it's not.
Yes,
Tied
it was
to-
very thoughtfully worded in that regard. That it isn't restricting. It is you know, at a time where obviously libraries might need it most. You know, it's very thoughtful. And then of course you know, I've been keeping current on the director's briefings and other webinars. And as regards Courtney's hire, you know, I've spoken with all the staff, and they're very happy for the news and are very excited to meet her. She and I have been coordinating over the past several days on various topics, primarily one of them being, you know, reopening plans. And you know, I've been giving her some little bits of information, and we're also working on scheduling a Zoom meeting for her to meet the staff, and them to meet her. That is pretty much my report for right now, and I'm going to then say over to you, Courtney, unless
Right.
anybody has any questions for me.
I do.
Sounds good.
Oh, go ahead, Carrie.
Tom, hi. Could you just repeat the wording, if you wouldn't mind, that came
Not
with
at
the
all.
check?
Not at all. This is for general purposes and the important role that the library plays in the community.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Right. Very nice. Oh, wow.
So I think Courtney's going to touch a little bit on the reopening summary of reopening, what we know now currently might be the plans. And then also she took it of her own accord, came up with a few potential plans for the future of the library, which was the document which I sent around to everybody. She did that right after she interviewed, and then has subsequently updated it since we have new reality since March. So go ahead.
Thanks, Jody. I just want to say, first off, Tom is being very modest. He's been incredibly helpful already. So it's not just been little bits of helpful information. He's been incredibly helpful. So thank you, Tom.
Oh, thank you.
So I wanted to touch a little bit on what we know about reopening. I've started to work on a reopening plan already, which might be kind of weird because I haven't officially started yet, but I figured this is going to get done whether I'm starting or not. So I'd rather get it done now and hopefully have it in place for June 1st rather than wait till June 1st and then scramble to catch up for the past 2 weeks. So I'm using the template. I don't know if everybody's seen it, but Mid-Hudson put out a very nice template with reopening phases and guidance. So I believe there's 5 phases altogether, and right now we're in phase 1, which is the library's closed, everything is online, staff are working from home, and that's kind of where we are right now. The second phase is curbside pickup, which I've started to work on and talk about with Tom a little bit to figure out how that would work in terms of keeping the staff safe. And everything, the great thing about the Mid-Hudson template is everything is cross-referenced with the state guidance. So we can be sure that we're following both recommended best practices by like the CDC and also guidance from the state. So there are a few things to keep in mind. Just some things that stood out to me when I was looking over the documentation is that we're gonna have to keep a log of staff information and basically people who come into the library for an extended period of time, a contact log with their name and contact information in case we need to do tracing, which fingers crossed does not happen, but just in case that's something the state is asking for. And then the second kind of weird thing that we need to do, but I think is pretty important, is kind of staff wellness checks almost. So we have to confirm either verbally or in a written document with the staff each day that they're working that they are not experiencing symptoms. So these are kind of things that the state is mandating. There's other stuff I'm sure that I haven't covered yet or gotten to in the document, but we are going to have to rethink we're definitely going to have to rethink normal library service. And I've been working with Tom on some ideas for curbside pickup and how we can best keep the staff and patrons safe, because that is my #1 goal, is to keep everybody safe. I don't want people, staff or patrons, getting sick. So I think it's really important to do everything we can to prevent that. So my goal is to have at least the reopening guidance for up to curbside pickup done by June 1st. We'll see if that happens, but that's my goal. So that way when I start, we can start putting things in place. In terms of actually starting curbside pickup, we're kind of on pause from New York State right now still. I'm pretty sure all of you have probably seen the metrics for reopening. I think right now Dutchess County in the Mid-Hudson region meets 4 out of 7 of those things that we need to meet. So we're kind of on pause altogether until Dutchess County is officially cleared for reopening. On top of that, to make it more confusing, there's some discussion about what phase libraries fall into, if it's phase 1, which is retail and curbside pickup, or phase 4, which is education, or phase 2 and 3. So that's something that we're really waiting for guidance from the state and from local government. So right now, there's not really much we can do. We couldn't open for curbside pickup even if we wanted to right now. So we do have a little bit of time to figure this all out, which is nice. Let me make sure there's nothing else that I want to cover on that. Does anybody have any questions on that? I know it's kind of weird that I don't have like official documentation yet. I really want to get that going as soon as possible, but
No, it sounds like we're all in the wait and see until the next phase, and preparing for curbside pickup sounds like the next phase.
Yeah, like I said before, I really want to make sure that it's safe as possible for our staff and patrons, and I think it's okay to wait a little bit to do this. Like, I don't want to necessarily be the first library out here testing things. I'm glad you agree.
Yes, thank you.
No, I'm going to pioneer.
I don't want to do that.
No, that
That's
sounds very
amazing
smart.
how much you're already thinking ahead and planning, you know, like, I mean, you're not even officially starting till June 1st, so.
Well, my thought was
I
if I
appreciate
waited to start, it would just be catching up on 2 weeks worth of work, and I don't want to do that to anybody. So
I appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
So if there were no more questions on that, hopefully I will definitely have more to report next meeting on that. But I just wanted to talk about the potential plans for the future document that I made. I went through the library's kind of plan of service and took out the important topics that were mentioned, such as financial strength, community impact, and things like that. And I kind of went through and just based on my knowledge and what I could find on the website and what I kind of knew about Millbrook, just made some notes on things that could be potential plans for the future. And then COVID-19 happened and I had to revise the plan a little bit. So I'm just going to go through it if you all don't mind.
I would like to hear it.
All right, so under financial strengths, I had that it would probably be very good to go for a 414 vote in 2021. I really think that 414 votes are important for the library's sustainability long term. And I think it's been a while, correct me if I'm wrong, it's been at least like 5 years since the library has done one. So that might be something to start thinking about. But at the same time, we kind of need to assess this moving forward because we don't know where people are going to be financially. So if people are struggling financially or have lost jobs, it might not be the best time to ask for an increase in library funding, and just to kind of be sensitive of that. So I don't really have an answer for that yet because I don't know what's going to happen in the future, but I think if it's possible that would be a really good thing to do in 2021. On top of that, I put to apply for more grants through Mid-Hudson and New York State. Grant funding is awesome, and I think it should be used as much as possible to supplement the library's funding. One of the things that we are running to at Mid-Hudson now, though, is like I run the Outreach Mini Grant program, and we've had to suspend that this year because we're really unsure about the state funding at the system level. So if there's grants, we should go for them, but there may not be as many opportunities as institutions like Mid-Hudson face financial struggles. So for community impact, one of the things that I do at Mid-Hudson is I'm part of the Turning Outward training. And Turning Outward is basically exactly what it sounds like, is you go out into your community and you ask what kind of community they want to live in and who they trust to make decisions. And there's a list of 10 questions that you do community conversations, and you go out and you talk to people. And then based on the responses, what they want to see in the community, the library kind of adjusts their plan of service. So I thought that would be cool to do this year. Again, community conversations are usually held in person, so I'm not sure if in-person gatherings are going to be happening anytime soon. But it may be possible to do something like this in an online format, which could be pretty helpful. And my goal with this was to help us determine a strategic plan for 2021 to 2024. So I think no matter what kind of format we do it in, it's going to be really important to seek out community input. And I thought community conversations would be a good way to do that. My next point was to reach out to local organizations and businesses to see what the library can do for them. And I think this is still really important, and maybe even more so than when I first wrote this. Lots of small businesses and organizations are struggling right now, and I think any way that we can help, we should do so. So some points that I had were we can promote information like the free meals that are available through the Millbrook Diner. They've been doing an amazing job with that. I've been following it on Facebook, and I think if the library can promote information like that, it might reach people who aren't aware of it already. I also want to try and think of ways to support more of the small businesses in the community. So for an example, I just did a social media campaign for National Library Week at Pleasant Valley, where each day we featured a different local business on our social media pages, and people could comment, and then they'd be entered into a drawing to win a gift card from the local business, and the friends of the library purchased the gift cards. So we didn't ask for donations or anything. We actually bought the gift cards from them. So it's a little thing, but it generated a ton of positive community support and just really good fuzzy feelings, which is what we want, I think. So that's just an idea of something that we could do. But I really want to try and support our small businesses as much as we can. And then another thing is just remote places that need donations of items due to the pandemic or act as a collection point. I'd have to do more research on that because I'm not as familiar with what is out there right now. But just something to think of how we can be like a community bridge in between people and different organizations and make those connections.
I think that's a great idea. Support the local community. It's a wonderful.
Yeah, I think they support us hopefully when it comes time for budget votes and funding. So I think we should do the best to support the community that we live in as well as much as we can.
Yeah, I just wrote that in the chat too. I know, Matt, you can't see that. That's a great idea because we always, get so much support from them for all the events that we do. It's great to give back to them. And I haven't talked to anybody from the Friends, but I'm usually the liaison when it's in person for there. And I would love to talk to them because they might be very open to that and helping us with that. So great.
It's funny because we were just talking at the vestry meeting last night about, we have to cancel our annual fundraiser, golf sort of stuff. But instead of asking for donations for auction, we want to, honor the small businesses. And maybe I love the gift card idea that we might get a donor to buy and then support the local businesses and have some fun.
I think that's a great idea to also get people maybe reinterested because there has been this pause and people haven't been going into the library, just to get them kind of looking at our website again and get them looking at our Facebook posts again, and it sort of has two purposes.
Yeah, it's a win-win situation, honestly. It for Pleasant Valley, it boosted our social media for that week like crazy. Like thousands of people saw each post because it got such high engagement with people commenting on it. So it kind of elevated our social media presence, but also supported the local businesses. So it was really good.
Maybe we could do that and start with a Merit Bookstore gift certificate because everybody's been missing, getting books.
And they've been doing a great job with like where you can order things online. I brought my mom's Mother's Day present from there.
Oh, I did the
and
same
they made
thing.
it super
Me
easy.
My mother-in-law too.
She's now my personal shopper. I text her. I'm like, okay, I'm having this person I'm shopping for. What are your ideas?
All right.
Great.
Yeah, I think she would really appreciate it if we gave her, highlighted her somehow.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Yeah, we're all a bunch of book people. We're buying everybody books and presents. I was there.
But all the restaurants too, I know everybody's doing a great job. So we might have to do 2 a day or have to do it for 2 weeks because we have quite a few businesses that could.
Cecilia, is that something you think the Friends would be interested in doing, supporting?
I don't see why not, I can get in touch with them and ask, but I think that why not? It's like giving back to the community, which we love. And that's what they're, basically trying to do, and I can't vouch for them, but I would definitely reach out to them.
Good.
So my next thing in terms of like the community engagement and interaction was to reach out to the knowledge in the community and full expertise for programming. So I've done a bunch of programs at Pleasant Valley in the past where I've pulled on local people from the community to do programs, and they've been generally the most successful programs that I've done. I just did earlier this winter an elder law program with a retired elder law attorney that was hugely popular. I did my first program that I did was a Harney and Sons tea program with Mike Harney. He came to the library and he did a tea tasting event, which was very exciting for me because I love their tea. So I think this is still relevant even though we can't have in-person programming right now. A lot of libraries have started doing online programming. I've done a couple for Pleasant Valley, and it's gone pretty well so far. And I think even once things start to open up, I think online programming is here to stay because it's really convenient for people who can't leave the house for whatever reason, who might have kids and might not be able to actually get away to the library for a program, but could turn on a Zoom meeting and tune in and listen while also kind of doing other stuff. So I think this is something that I still think is really important moving forward. It adds both an educational element to the programs, which is really important because libraries are education, but it also adds a social connection, which I think especially during these times is really important, that people get the chance to talk to other people in their community, especially about topics that they're both interested in or everybody's interested in at the program. So in addition to this, I've been thinking a lot about the summer reading program and trying to come up with a new way to kind of reinvent that since we're most likely not going to be able to have in-person programming for the summer. So I'm not sure what's been done at the library in the past. I'm sure Tom can fill me in later, but that's just something that I wanted to start thinking about now a little bit. And one of the cool ideas that I found, another kind of giving back to the community thing, is I know lots of times, like when I did summer reading growing up, we would fill out a reading log and we'd come in each week and get it signed, and then we'd be able to pick out a prize or a book from like the prize cabinet. And I kind of want to steer away from that a little bit because prizes are germy. So I don't really want to have kids reaching their hands into like prize baskets and spreading germs. So the coolest idea that I saw so far is like a community kind of charity reading event where for each book you read, $1 is donated to a charity. And I've seen kind of the more successful libraries that have done it have done, you can choose from like 3 different charities, and then it's kind of like a competition of which charity gets the most money. So I think, I'm not sure if the Friends could sponsor that, but I think if we found a donor to do that, that would be pretty cool. But again, I'm just kind of bouncing ideas around right now. and definitely nothing's set in stone. So, and then another thing under the community engagement, sorry, this is kind of long, is that I wanted to do like a pop-up library events at community events like the farmers market or like school sports games and stuff like that. And obviously that might need to be revised now because COVID, but I think it's still important for the library to try and provide books and outreach through organizations like schools and food pantries to give children who may not have access to ebooks or the internet very easily educational resources and things to read still. So for example, the Pauling Library, they did a really cool thing where they teamed up with their school and their local community resource center, and they're actually distributing bags of books through their food pantry, which I thought was great.
Huh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, I thought it's a good way to reach people who probably need the materials the most. So.
Well, it's interesting because our food pantry in Armenia and then this Millbrook serves, they're seeing a huge number of, increase. So that's where people are able to go out, in strict protocols, but it might be nice to have some sort of available book. I mean, how cool would that be?
Yeah, that's what I thought too. So I'll just kind of skip through the rest of the stuff because I realize I've been talking a while, but the next kind of section of the plan of service was the welcoming environment, which is to ensure staff receive training so they can stay on top of new technology trends and library trends. And obviously this is very important right now. Tom's been telling me that the staff has been working on training from home. And I think that's something that we should definitely continue. And Mid-Hudson's a great resource. I'm kind of biased right now, but in terms of technology, I really want to optimize and update the website to be mobile friendly. I want to update and improve the online calendar, and I want to improve the promotion of library e-services like Job Now and Universal Class that people have access to for free with their library card. And I think right now that's even more important just because so many people are trying to do things online right now. And then in terms of the last section, collections, I'd like to do a thorough assessment of the collection and see what is circulating, what is not. Additionally, I want to track digital resources statistics and see what areas are doing well and what areas aren't being used, and ensure that people have access to digital resources that they need when they can't access the physical library materials. So, sorry, that was longer than I anticipated, but that's my rundown.
I enjoyed that very much. Thank you.
Well, yes, and thank you for jumping right in and for coming up with these great ideas, and we look forward to hearing more as you continue to get up to speed with the library. And but it all sounds very good from my perspective. I think that's very good. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Does anyone have any questions for Courtney before we move on at this point?
Well, I just wanted to comment one thing that struck me in the report that you sent out was this idea that you don't want to just have some offering online, but make it really attractive and worthy of people's attention. I thought that was a good idea. It's quality programs that people really want to see.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that I've seen libraries kind of do that I think is a little bit of a mistake is they're kind of competing with the internet a little bit and offering things that you can find on YouTube, which I don't think is a really good use of time. So if we're going to do programming, I really want it to be intentional and to kind of offer something to our community that they can't find anywhere else.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that really speaks to what we were just talking about too, in terms of local support. You can't find Millbrook on the internet, but if there's local things, it might be particularly interesting.
Right, it's unique to our community, right?
And I also think your comment about that online programming is here to stay is a very smart move, because I think a lot of libraries are struggling, and this was kind of like a hint of what can happen. So for you saying that online programming should be here to stay, I think it's really smart, and it's going to set us apart and make us stand out for the future and not just for now. So I'm very grateful that you mentioned that.
Yeah, that's a very good point. I think with all of the older people in our community figuring all of this stuff out right now specifically so that they can communicate with their family and friends, I think they would definitely be more apt to sign on to the library and do some of these things. One idea I had just came to mind was something like having Kate Karen from Innisfree come and give a talk, be online and give a talk, or a virtual tour. I think that's something especially older people would enjoy if they can't get out and do that themselves.
That's a great idea. I love that
Yeah.
idea.
I know,
love
I know
that,
she would
yes.
do it. That
So,
might be
yeah.
a good one to start with because people are really missing going there. It's only open to members at the moment, and only by appointment. So I think, you know, something like that that's timely, that's seasonal, that could be really a great start for
Yeah,
our
I'm gonna write that down.
And also, like, I don't know, is there a way to figure out the people that don't know yet how to use Zoom and stuff? Like, you know, like, I don't know how you would figure out, like, how to teach them, you know? I mean, a lot of people figured it out by now, but especially, like, you know, the elder community, maybe, you know, I don't know, figuring out a way of actually teaching them how to utilize, you know.
Yeah, like maybe you could teach my wife how to use it, or Matt. I'm joking.
Don't give me.
Sorry. But also another thing would be like the weather's getting nicer. People are like, you can't do much but go for walks, lots and lots of walks. So just having like some sign or something maybe outside say, hey, we're going to be back, or this is where you can go to look up like amazing resources and everything like that, because people are walking a lot, and you know, just seeing like a building that, you know, nothing's happening at, you just kind of walk past it. But if you see a fun sign, I think that was like on the Mid-Hudson webinar last week, like some libraries had some fun stuff outside and it was kind of cute. So
That's a good idea.
There's a lot to do. It's very exciting.
Yeah.
Lots of
Also,
food
let
for
us know
thought.
if there's something we can help with, you know. I mean, I
Yeah,
wouldn't mind to
definitely.
volunteer. I mean, I'm not artistic. I can sing, but I can't draw or make anything look pretty. So, but if there's something that you think of, you know, and just put it out there to us, you know, I would
think
love to help.
singing in front of the library sounds like a good idea.
Shoot. No, I would need somebody that actually can play an instrument, because maybe there might be kind of boring. I don't know.
Just
But I wouldn't
a
mind.
daily 5-minute concert. Perfect.
There you go. You're looking for something to do, right, Cecilia?
If it has to do with music, always. Or dancing.
All right. Well, thanks again, Courtney, and to be continued.
Yes,
So,
definitely.
Thank you. So next on our agenda is financial reports. So I will turn it over to Mark.
yeah, financial reports. I know our last meeting I didn't have too much to report. Again, I don't get an opportunity to see the day-to-day bills, except for just going online and I'm seeing that they're paid. Erica is sending me, have now up-to-date information till, and I don't know, I just was going over stuff and I felt like I never got an opportunity to wrap up December, because I know come March when we're getting December numbers, everything got interesting. So I forwarded a financial report for December 2019, piggybacked off Jody's email, so it's all on there. I could go over line by line. I'll just go over some quick ones and kind of like answer some questions. I know Jody had some questions, so I'm sure it's pertinent to everyone. Like our government support, which is a big portion of our income, was less than 1% above projection. So what we're predicting to get in income, we're getting, and coming also for this year, you know, we're wondering what's the municipality support and state support going to be like. We've already received, I think, 90% of our income for the year. Obviously, Uniondale is going to be a gap because it doesn't look like anything is happening there. But in terms of income, We already have it for 2020, so we're in good shape. Obviously, we're gonna, 2021, it's gonna be more questions. But also another nice point is we have our interest income, interest from our charitable trusts. That's about 50% of it. That's all where it should have been projected for. So all that stuff is pretty good. And then any other big things to highlight? Some of our expenses we projected too high, like collection development and payroll expenses. One was, we had some turnover in the directors in terms of ordering supplies, and that also reduced our payroll expense. We should have, this will be something for Courtney to follow up on. I know I've had an opportunity to, do some emails with the auditors, but we don't have all our numbers for like our GAAP financials, so, and our depreciation, exciting stuff. And yeah, everything otherwise was pretty good. It's all there for you to see, and I hope to have the rest of the year kind of caught up. Always when it comes to the end of the year, there's a little bit of delay with getting some final numbers in, but yeah, everything looks good. And yeah, is that for the agenda? So Jody, you're going in to sign off on the check for all the bills and everything. Is that how it's been happening? Or
I've only gone in to sign check that was over $1,000. So only the ones that needed 2 signatures.
okay, so at some point, I think it's probably.
I was just going to say, Mark, anytime you can text me something, we can schedule because I'm here every day but Fridays. So anytime that might work for you, come down and we'll have I'll have the the folder set aside. Okay.
Yeah. So in terms of those are just my reports. Finance committee hasn't formally met in a while, and we don't have, I guess, like bills for us to vote on and approve since the beginning of the pandemic. But everything looks okay. Otherwise, I don't know what we can really vote on and move forward with. But that's currently my report.
All right. Yeah, I don't think we need to vote on anything now. I guess I just want to see if anyone has any particular questions. I do have just one question. I think this might have been a typo on the 3rd page of your report where the Millbrook Library Trust, the balance as of, is that supposed to be 12/31/19?
Millbrook Library Trust. Yeah, probably.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to make sure. I figured so, but I just wanted to verify that. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Does anyone have any questions for Mark at this point?
Good job, Mark.
Okay. Thank you, Matt.
All right. So as far as committee reports, I guess I'll just go down here. Michael's not here. I know we're still working, hopefully, to submit for the New York State construction grant to see if we can get funding for the HVAC work that needs to be completed at the library. I've been back and forth with Michael on that. We need to submit intent to apply, just the intent to apply on May 29th. So I'll be back in touch with him and hopefully we can get that all going. And then we'd have to formally submit the full proposal on August 7th. So we're still working in the mindset that we're going to apply for that grant. And I know that, I think it was just last week, that he was able to get a 3rd proposal. They went into the library and he was able to get a 3rd proposal or a 3rd person to look to give another bid.
Jody,
yeah.
I'm sorry to interrupt. What were those dates again? The intent to apply is for
May 29th.
May.
Mm-hmm. And then the full proposal's August 7th.
7th. Thank you.
And is there anything to report on the development fundraising or Friends Front at this time? No.
No, I just want to say that I said it in the text because I got to go. I will reach out to them and just, connect and, maybe see what their current status is and talk to them a little bit. So I put that on my to-do list. So.
Okay, great. Thank you. At the moment, nothing in long range planning. Anything from nominating to report? No, okay. Personnel, we know we have Courtney. We're so happy that you're on board.
Yeah, good job, Jody, and all. That was great.
And policy, we need someone to do a little work here, this committee, which at the moment is just Sarah and I. So I wanted to just throw it out there. If anybody's interested in joining the policy committee, we need to update our policy manual and come up with a pandemic policy.
Ooh, I see Nikki's.
I can't believe you hadn't got a pandemic policy in place. It was hard
Well,
to
I
think.
couldn't believe in our long list, our fabulous policy manual, that piece is missing. We have everything else.
I know. Last time we talked, we said how great in shape we are with the policies.
Who
All right,
knew?
so
Who knew?
Nikki, that would be great if you could join us.
Absolutely.
And I'm going to start, I'll email us, the three of us, and we'll get started on that. I have a template we can start to work with, and if we could all just put our heads together and come up with, we may end up doing it, if we can get it done quickly, we may end up doing an e-vote so we can get it in place sooner rather than later. So great. If anyone else wants to join, please let me know. But I think, and I'll also share, Courtney, maybe Tom already gave you this, but I think have you seen the policy manual that we have?
I don't think so. I've seen the policies that are on the website,
Oh, okay.
but
Okay.
I don't know if that's everything.
Yeah, well, you and Tom
She's getting the
can.
grand tour of the. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, no,
She's
go
getting the
ahead.
grand tour of the place on Thursday, and I'm gonna show over the policy manual with her then.
Okay, and then the employee handbook as well. Great. Let's see. Well, I don't have any new business. Does anyone else have any new business or other news? Nothing? Okay. Our next meeting will be Tuesday, June 16th, 7 p.m. And it sounds like we'll be doing another Zoom meeting.
Try to get it on next time.
I know you'll succeed, I'm sure. So if there's no other business, I would then make a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All right, fabulous. Well, thanks again, Courtney. Thank you, Tom. Bye.
You're welcome.
What's the dog's
Goodbye.
name?
Good night to all.
Bye, Tom.
Yeah, Molly says good night. Good
Oh,
night.
Molly. Bye, Molly.
I thought the dog's name was Good Night to All, but anyway, good night. Goodbye.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks so much, everybody. Have a good night. Talk to you soon.